back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my channel. You don't want to miss this because I want to tell you guys about my journey on magic mushrooms, which is a type of psychedelic. So basically what I did was I was watching Gaia. I want to tell you guys how I manifested them. So I was watching Gaia, which is like this spiritual station or whatever, and they had a series on there called Psychedelics. So I started watching it, and in that moment when they started talking about magic mushrooms, I made the decision, like, in that moment that I was going to try them. I don't care. And I'm very spontaneous like that. And so since, you know, being spontaneous like that got me in trouble in the past, I decided not to do that. And I said, okay, spirit guys, if you want me to try this on my spiritual journey, let me know. I will let you present them to me, but I will not look for them to try to purchase them or anything of that nature, because I had no idea where to get them from. And it's a very, very bad idea to try to go and find them, you know, yourself from someone, especially someone you don't know or don't trust. Don't do it. And so basically that's what I did. So fast forward, I was telling someone about a video that I watched of someone who tried magic mushrooms, and their video was so hilarious that I decided to tell them about it to make them laugh. And they were like, oh, I have some if you want to try them. Here you go. And it was like, this is it. Spirit guide presented it to me. This was like less than a week of me watching that episode. I knew that they wanted me to have them because it was like, it was so effortless. Like, I didn't have to put any thought into it. It wasn't even my idea to even ask for them. So it was just like super crazy how they came in my life. Anyway, I took the magic mushrooms and I was like super excited. I got it from someone that I truly trust. So make sure that you get them from someone you really trust. So basically got home and I contemplated on them, like, when am I going to take them? You know, I'm a single mom. I'm here with my daughter by myself all day. So when am I going to try them? When am I going to take them? And I was like, okay, well, whenever the time presents itself, then I will try them, right? Woke up the next morning and was like, I'm going to pop them. Like, I woke up thinking to myself, like, I'm just going to take them this morning. I was in the mood. So I woke up. It was just me and my daughter. I woke up and I took some. And then instantly I was like, what did you do? Like, what the heck did you just do? Like, it was crazy. Like, I was like, not freaking out, but just nervous. Like, should I have taken them? Like, how long am I gonna be, you know, feeling this way? When is my trip gonna start? Like, I have my daughter here. I have my daughter, y'all. Bad idea. So I'm already freaking out, like, because if I start, you know, hallucinating or doing anything crazy, I'm gonna have to call the police. And if I call the police, they're gonna, like, probably take my daughter from me, because they're gonna be like, you know, you're doing drugs. You know what I mean? So I was a bit nervous, not frightened, but just nervous. So because I was so nervous, I started calling friends, talking to them about it. And surprisingly, they weren't like, well, all of my friends are very spiritual. Let me add, all of my friends are very spiritual. So they weren't like freaking out, like, oh my God, you know, what are you gonna, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you shouldn't have done that, you know, da da da. So they were like, just enjoy the ride. Like, you know, they're very into, you know, psychedelics too. Although they don't necessarily take them, you know, they are open to it. You know what I mean? If it organically presents itself to them as well. So I tried to calm myself down. I was like, okay, so let me get out the house. So basically what I wanted to do is just get out the house, because as long as I was in the house, I was going to be all in my head. So I was like, I'm going to get out the house. Bad idea. If you don't have to drive, don't drive. I think that's the worst thing that you could do is drive, because you don't know how your body's going to respond to it. You don't want to be on the road and go on a trip while you're on the road. I don't think that's great, especially if you never tried them before. If it's your first time and you don't know how your body responds to it, especially that dosage, you don't want to do it. So that was a bad idea, but I didn't think about that until after the fact. But luckily, that wasn't the case for me. Also, I think that if you're microdosing, that's beneficial as well. It's just basically trying to get the benefits of it without the hallucination part of it. I'm definitely an advocate for microdosing. Definitely something I think that you should try if you're open to it. Just on the regular, because it's very beneficial. But anyway, so while I'm on this trip, I'm on the road, going to different places or whatever, all of a sudden I was, well, let me just take it back. Let me take it back, you guys. It's only been like 30 minutes since I've taken them. And so when I go outside, as soon as I open the door, I hear, like, y'all, this loud sound, like this violin sound. Like, it was like someone was like playing the violin from like the heavens. That's how loud it was. So I'm thinking Jesus coming back, like somebody's coming out the sky, something's happening, you know what I mean? So right then and there, I was tripping. And I thought, like, these magic mushrooms are more powerful than I thought. So I was tripping. The first thing I did was look down at my daughter, and I'm like, hey, do you hear that noise? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, so it's like music, it's very loud? And she was like, yes. So she ended up being helpful to help me distinguish the real from the fake, I guess. So I was like, oh my God, like, oh, this is interesting. Like, so someone is really out here playing loud violins on the day that I decided to do psychedelics. Like, what's the odds of that? What's the odds of someone deciding to do that on the day I decided to take psychedelics? I never walked outside before. I've been living here for a couple of years, never walked outside and heard that before. So very strange, but because my daughter heard it, I was okay. So then all of a sudden the trees started moving, but they were so beautiful. Like, I love the trees. Like, so the trees were very beautiful, very bold colors. So that was like amazing. And then all of a sudden during that time, I think I was kind of still like stressed out, not necessarily depressed, but just a little touch of depression. And I noticed that I was just felt calm. I didn't care about what happened in life. I didn't care about what was going on in my life. I didn't care about nothing. Like, I really feel like it's a great antidepressant. It's a great antidepressant. I just never, because I did do a video on, you know, reversing depression naturally. Taking magic mushrooms is very beneficial, but I didn't want to say that because I don't want anyone to go out here and get that and then have a bad trip, and then now, you know, that's stuck with me. You know what I mean? Just to know that I influenced this person to do it, or influence anyone on my channel to do psychedelics. So I didn't want to put that on there, but I will honestly say my experience with magic mushrooms, definitely an antidepressant for sure. So as I'm going through the day, I'm just realizing it's definitely beneficial just being out in nature, because it makes you feel better than being in the house. So being out in nature, I just advise not to drive, just walk, you know what I mean? And so just being out in nature and just eating outside and just enjoying the air, I mean, you begin to appreciate nature more. And so, I don't know, it was an overwhelming feeling of just joy and thankfulness and just showing gratitude to nature for just being what it is, and just knowing that everything will be okay, and that, you know, life is never what we presume it to be. And that was the highlight of my experience. So then I decided to take a little bit more because I didn't want to come down yet. I'm gonna be high all day. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? So anyway, luckily it wasn't a bad experience, but at the same time, it's just like I need to be back to who I am because I have a daughter to take care of. But it was just bringing me so much joy and happiness, and just relaxing and laid out on the grass at the park and just enjoying nature and what it is. And I can't express it enough. I do recommend for you to try them if you never tried them. But if you do not want to try them, totally understand. But make sure you're with a couple of things I would recommend when taking psychedelics is, well, taking magic mushrooms, because I can't speak on the other ones as far as LSD, DMT, I don't know about those. But just taking magic mushrooms, I will advise to make sure you're around people you trust. Make sure that whatever environment that you're in, trusted environment that you're in, that you are there the whole 24 hours, because you don't know how long it's going to last for you, especially depending on how much you take. Definitely make sure that your day is reserved for just the full 24 hours. Also, make sure you're not around kids, because you just don't know. Luckily, I didn't have that negative experience, or, you know, I don't know what caused a bad journey, or a bad trip, but I would advise not to be around children, because you don't want that to trickle into something where you have to call the police, or, you know, the ambulance, or, you know, call someone because you're losing yourself. And then you have kids. It's gonna make you look like a bad parent, for one. And then on top of that, you know, especially if you call authorities, you might get arrested. You might get your child taken away from you. And you don't want that. That's a bit extreme. And so I wouldn't recommend that. So don't have your kids around you. And also make sure your head is in a great place. Because if you go on a trip and you're depressed, or you're having a lot of negative self-talk, then it could turn into a bad trip. Because magic mushrooms basically have a major influence on your serotonin receptors. So basically, I mean, your thoughts can become visual. And if you're already having these negative thoughts and negative ideas in your head and you're taking magic mushrooms, it can definitely manifest into something more visual. And it can be very frightening. I mean, it can cause you to end up in the hospital for sure. So make sure that your head is in a very, very great place. And I know that I said magic mushrooms is a great antidepressant. It's only great doing it when you're microdosing. If you're not microdosing, I would not advise to use it as an antidepressant, because you could have a bad trip, and you don't want that. And I don't want you to have a bad trip. But all in all, great experience. Definitely had a few euphoric moments, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, because I had fun. And let me just eat a piece of watermelon, y'all. I love watermelon. And then I love to pair it with some tea. I don't know why. It's very good. High combination, but delicious. Also, let me just add this in. So I didn't have watermelon, but when I started eating fruit, like while I was on the mushrooms, it was like, God, like I felt nature. I don't know. It was like the fruit was talking to me. Like I felt like, ooh, like you supposed to be in my body. Like it felt so intimate. I was having an intimate moment with fruit. Like intimate moment with fruit, y'all. Like fruit. Like, it was crazy. We had a very intimate moment, you know, in the park. And, yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. So, if you decide to take magic mushroom, I am an advocate for it, and I definitely will be trying it again. When I do, I will not tell my daughter. That will not happen again. And I will definitely still keep that safe environment, as I mentioned. Also, just being out in nature, but not planning to drive at all. It's really a situation where you have to plan your whole entire day center around you being in that state of mind. If you do hallucinate, because I didn't really hallucinate as far as seeing things, but a lot of things were amplified. So just seeing nice trees, it was like amplified. Like it was like the best thing that I've seen. And just being in a good mood, that was amplified. Like I felt overwhelmed with joy or overwhelmed with calmness. So a lot of things that I was already experiencing, you know, outside of taking mushrooms, I mean, it was basically the same experience, but amplified. So yeah, basically that was it. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, okay? Subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.